could come and join us. You know, Oregon really was Bernie country. As you all, many of you know, that I chose to endorse Bernie Sanders. And I want to tell you why. In our caucus, he is a powerful voice on the big issues that face America. He stands up as in the inner circle the same way he stood up across America to say we have to reform a system of political campaigns that is rigged by billionaire cash, and we're going to get that billionaire cash out of the system. And he stood up and he said we have to take on global warming and we have to do so fast. It's a huge threat to the planet, and we're going to do it. That means we're going to take on the Koch brothers. And he stood up and said we're going to expand health care. And during the Affordable Care Act, we had a huge expansion of federally qualified health centers because Bernie Sanders made it happen, serving millions of people. He understands that we must have an education system where so many jobs in our society depends on a college education. We need to treat it like high school. It has to be completely an investment in the next generation. It can't be a financial gauntlet that dissuades so many young adults from ever being able to pursue their dreams. So basically, completely affordable or free tuition on universities. Huge factor. Great joy to introduce to you a man who has shifted the political spectrum enormously in America, and with all of your help, we're going to continue to shift it, Bernie Sanders.
Let me begin by thanking Jeff Barkley. Some of you may know that the support we received from the establishment was not exactly overwhelming. The fact that every state that we went to, we had to take on governors, and senators, and members of Congress who were part of the Democratic establishment. That's fine, we knew what we were getting into. There are 46 members of the Democratic caucus of the U.S. Senate. There were two members who supported our candidacy. One of them was me. My wife convinced me, but the other person other than me was Jeff Berkley. Let me introduce somebody to you I think most of you know. Mention also, what you don't know is that my son graduated the U of O. Barely, it took him a few years, but he graduated. Another son, I spent a number of years working in the Portland area. So everybody sit down, please sit down. I want to just say a few things this morning. Number one is that the political revolution that we are engaged in has not ended. And if I have anything to say about it, it will not end. It continues. All of you know, because I know people in this room are smart and you've studied history, and you know that real change never takes place from the top on down, that real change is not just about electing somebody. That's very important. I don't want to minimize that. But real change always takes place when millions of people become involved in the political process and engaged in the struggle for justice. That's the history of the trade union movement. It's the history of the civil rights movement, history of the women's movement, history of the gay movement, history of the environment movement. It is never the case that somebody on top says, oh, I have a good idea. I think we should make gay marriage legal. Oh, that was a great idea. That's not what happens. It happens that people struggle. Think about the civil rights movement, the number of people who went to jail and died in that struggle. What the political revolution is about is engaging millions of people in our country in the struggle for social, economic, racial, and environmental justice. And that struggle I want to tell you that, as Jeff just mentioned, we have significantly altered the nature of discussion, political discussion in America. Because we have asked the honest and real questions. Jeff just mentions, and he's absolutely right, and I campaigned on this, how insane it is that we have millions of people leaving school deeply in debt, and others can't even afford to go to college. How crazy is that when we live in a competitive global economy? It is not a radical idea. And we have gotten that point across, that when we talk about public education, it must mean making public colleges and universities tuition free. Because of your support, we have won that debate. Some of you may know that in the process of working with Secretary Clinton's campaign, she ended up and I ended up coming up with an agreement. It wasn't everything that I wanted. But right now, what the proposal is that she is supporting is to say that every family in America of $125,000 or less will be able to send their kids to a public college or university tuition free. And in that same proposal, very, very strong language in terms of reducing student debt. You made that happen. Thank you. Now, I believe, and I think many of you believe, that this country has got to join the rest of the industrialized world and guarantee health care to all people as a right through a Medicare for all Medicare program. That's our view. That's not Secretary Clinton's view. But we reached a compromise. She is now public in saying she will double, not a small amount, double the amount of money coming in to community health centers all over this country, which will revolutionize primary health care. She is on record and will support public options in every exchange in this country, allowing people 55 or older to opt into Medicare. Those are not small things. Now, what you know and what I know is politics is not what appears on the TV. What TV is interested in is conflict and fundraising and political gossip. But what the American people are interested in is what is going on in their lives. It is absolutely fair to say that we are in much better shape today than we were 7.5 years ago when Bush left office and when we were losing 800,000 jobs a month. No one can debate that. But on the other hand, what is also true, and we have got to have the courage to acknowledge it, I didn't hear it so much yesterday, by the way, is that while things are better than they were 7.5 years ago, if anybody here thinks there are not millions of Americans who are suffering economically, who are struggling right now to figure out how they're going to put food on the table for their kids, if you don't understand that, then you don't understand what's going on in America. Because that is what's going on. I'm not going to hear a whole lot about the grotesque level of income and wealth inequality. That's what we talk about, and we believe that it is immoral and unsustainable that the top 1/10 of 1% now owns as much wealth as the bottom 90%. We talk about that, and the American people agree with us. Today, if you can believe it, in my state, in Oregon, all over this country, you got people working longer hours for lower wages. You got people working 2 or 3 jobs despite a huge increase in technology and productivity. Okay? Today, 85% in the last few years of all new income is going to the top 1%. Does anybody here think that that is close to the kind of economy we should be having? No. All right, we talk about it, other people don't talk about it, but the American people are listening to us. In terms of trade policies, we are going to work hard to defeat the TPP. In terms of minimum wage, we are going to fight to continue that struggle to raise the minimum wage to $15 an hour. So here is my point. My point, and what I believe, and I know most of you believe, is that politics, elections are very, very important. We work hard. But politics is transforming America and changing the lives of people who are hurting. A country is great not by how many millionaires and billionaires it has, but by how it treats its most vulnerable people. The children, the elderly, people with disabilities. We have the highest rate of childhood poverty of almost any major country on earth. We have millions of seniors and disabled vets trying to get by on $11,000, $12,000 a year Social Security. Not acceptable. And we're going to change that. So, as Jeff indicated, we got to get money out of politics. We're going to overturn the Citizens United. So, main point is stay focused on our issues. Second point, in the next 3 months, we have got to do everything that we can to make sure that Donald Trump is defeated and Hillary Clinton is elected. I say that because in my lifetime, I cannot recall a worse candidate than Donald Trump, a more dangerous candidate than Trump. And it's not just because he wants to give tax breaks to billionaires or he thinks that global warming and climate change is a hoax. A lot of Republicans do that. This man is a demagogue. This man is a person who does not believe in the Constitution, who is running his entire campaign based on bigotry. That's how he's hoping to get votes, to get one group of people to hate another group of people. Whether it is Mexicans and Latinos, whether it is Muslims, whether it is African Americans or insulting women or whatever. I do not want to see my 4 kids and 7 grandchildren grow up under a Trump presidency. I'm going to do everything I can to make sure that. I understand, believe me, I understand better than anybody in this room that there are differences of opinion between us and Hillary Clinton. I got it, believe me. I know it very well. But if anyone thinks that there is not a significant difference between Hillary Clinton and Donald Trump, you are dead wrong. There is. Our job is to elect Secretary Clinton, to take pride because of all of your efforts that we have passed by far, not even close, the most progressive platform in the history of the Democratic Party. And because of what you have done, our job now is to make sure that we have a Democratic Senate so that Jeff can become a chairman of a committee. A Democratic House and a Democratic President. And the day after the election, we begin the process of making sure that a Democratic President, Democratic Senate, Democratic House implement that Democratic plan. I wanted to also mention to you that obviously we are transforming our campaign, of which all of you, or most of you have been a part of, into a new type of organization, which is